All right, hi guys. Today I'm going to go over your 960-3 with you. I'm going to go through the buttons first, and I'm going to show you where the power goes and where the air goes, and then we'll go through putting a jam in and running it. First of all, to our left over here, you got your control transformer button. When you pull this out, I got power in the box, but to pull this out, this will bring power into your machine and up, okay? Then once you hit the start button, it'll bring power up to the front and into your motor there, ready to go. Then when you hit the foot pedal, it'll turn the motor on and run. We got an eject button here. We got cylinders up there to turn it off if you don't want to eject your jam. But if you turn it on, when the jam is done being routed for your strike plate, it'll kick the jam out automatically, okay? And this is your interior exterior door thickness. So your 1 3/8, your interior door will be set here. And when you go to 1 3/4, you set it here. Then we also got to do a pin change up there. And I'll be going through that with you later too when doing when you're changing thicknesses. So basically, I'm just going to turn it back to 1 3/8 for now. And over here is your quick disconnect here, off on. Then up here, it's just a router button. If your power kicks off, your button just resets it. Okay, I'm gonna open the door here and show you what we got. When you get your machine in place where you want it to be, we got our extension cord on it right now, but you're gonna probably run a hole through the top of the box down, or you come in from the side or bottom, however you want to do it. But you will want to bring your leads into the top of these ports right here, and then have a ground on the side here, okay? Now back here is where the air supply comes in right here, and we got a ball valve to turn the air on and off of the machine. Then with this here is a filter. It'll filter out the water, and it'll drip out the bottom. Come in here, your regulator. We set it at 90 psi, and you could adjust if you have to. And your adjustments right here. You pull down and then just turn it and then push it back up. Then we got an oiler here, and to oil to lubricate the valves and the cylinders. And your adjustments right here on the knob. You just turn it. Open it up, it'll drip more, and if you screw it in, it's going to close it down so it'll have less oil coming through. This is your router motor here, which will route your strike plate when it comes in. We got cylinders on the back side, and the valves will run it each way, tell it when to go. Then we got a bearing underneath here that goes into the main plate that routes for your main hole in your plate. Okay, over here, this here machine has an option of for split jam, so they got a wide crown staple gun just to staple the jams together when they do it. If you don't run split jams, you don't need this nail gun. These cylinders here are for your eject, and they'll eject your jams out onto these pads when it's done routing. Then back here, these two knobs are just for firing these guns, and this here will disable the gun so they won't fire at all. So that's what we got going there. Underneath here, we got pins across here, and we need the pins in there. And this here, if you wanted, like on your 1 3/8, you could either go 1 7/6 deep on your plate, or you could do different pin adjustments depending on what strike plate you're running. If you want 1 3/8 or 1 1/2, depending on what you run, and you just change the length of the pins. And then also, when we go to 1 3/4, we're going to have to change the pins to do different routes too. So we'll be going through this, and we got a good diagram in the manual I can show you after this, the pin chart, so you guys know what I'm talking about. Here's your jam stops, and this will be the top of your door, or top of the jam resting against these stops. And I'll show you how that goes here in just a minute. So right now, on my door, if I was running a 60-inch knob on my 8.0, I would set this for 60 and 1/8, and I read off of here to my tape rest right here. And what that does is it'll give you an 1/8 gap between the top of your door and the top of your header on your jam. It just raise it up 1/8 of an inch. All right, and then then I got my 7.0 setting and my 6.8. And these are adjustable. All you gotta do is loosen these guys, these set collars with a 532 Allen wrench or T-handle, and you can slide it, and you always read this side of the collar to this side of the tape right here against here, and that'll be where it's gonna cut the center, and that's the center of your plate. There's two 1/4-inch reamed holes here, and these are for stop pins. Instead of moving the stop every time, if you could put stop pins in here, and they just slide in. These two holes up here, they've got 1032 spring plungers in there, so that helps hold them in place as it's running. It's just a plunger down there that puts pressure on the stop pin from falling out. So a lot of times they'll use a 1/2 inch, 3/8 to a 1/2 inch stop pin for doing split jams and other stuff. Okay, for doing maintenance on this machine, we suggest every day blowing it off, cleaning it off, wiping it down kind of, just make sure it's clean when you leave. And then every 250 hours coming in, these are Zerk fittings for your bearings, greasing them. We use an EP2 grease here, and just 1 squirt in each bearing. There's 12 total bearings. There's some down in here, 2 in the back, 2 on the side, and 4 right here. And just come in every 6 weeks to 8 weeks, come in and just hit these Zerk fittings with grease, and you guys should be good. All right, we're gonna change the bit right now. I'm gonna show you how to change it. The easiest way to do it is to pull this whole motor assembly off. And to do that, we gotta just undo this bolt here and this one right here. Just back them out with a 5/16 T-handle or an Allen wrench. I prefer the T-handle, or if you get a ratchet with the socket on it, it'll be easy. And then when you put it all back together, you wanna bring it back to where the square head bolt is right here. You just bring it all the way up to it, and that'd be the right depth of where you have to be. So I'm gonna go ahead and take it out now. Okay, so now we got the motor we just set it on top of the frame here, and now we can go ahead and unloosen it. So I got the two wrenches that are right here. This one here will go onto here. This one here locks in this way here. Then you're gonna wanna crank it. Then it's a double locking one. And then you should pull it out for you to undo it the second time. Okay, so now when I'm putting the bit in, I just took the bit out, put the new one in, and what I want to do is take it all the way in, like bottom it out, and then pull it out 1/16, 1/8 of an inch, because otherwise the collet won't seat. If you push it all the way in, it won't tighten on the bit, it'll tighten on the back of the motor, and it won't seat the collet tight around the shaft of the bit. So once I got that, okay, then it's tight, you're ready to go. Okay, there's a little router wrench back here we just put on the back of the frame where we set the wrenches. Okay, so now when we go to put this back in, you gotta be very careful. This is very sharp, the bit right here, but when you set it back in, there's a round hole here. Make sure you get it in the center of the hole and drop it in. Don't hit the edge, because it's easy to break if you don't do it that way. Okay, here we go. Wait, you gotta be careful of the wire here. Go underneath, come back around. Okay, so then I use my hand here just to pull the motor back, come in here, and then just start putting these bolts in. Okay, now we're all tight, we're good to go. These are your two depth settings for running this will run just your flat plate right here. You just loosen this nut here and then screw this down to raise it up, or back it out to have the motor go down deeper to make a deeper plate. This up here is for your 3/4 by 1 pocket, the plunge pocket itself, or whatever size plunge pocket you got. You just loosen the nut here, turn it up to make it go deeper, or loosen it and turn it down to make it come up higher so it doesn't go so deep, okay? So those are the two depth settings on this thing. This here is for your back set of your plate. You loosen this and either back it out to make it go further in, or vice versa. We also showed you the pins earlier in here for this setting for doing an 1 3/8 door. So we put a 11/16 pin in there to make it do an 1 7/16. So if you got the right pin with the chart, you should go off of that and just change pins instead of moving the knob in and out every time after it's preset. Down in here, I got the width of the plate setting right here. There's a bolt right here, and just loosen a nut and screw it in if you need to make the plate wider, or back it out if you want to not make the plate as wide on this side. There's one other bolt, exact same bolt, it acts the exact same way on the other side of the head. It comes and just loosen the same way. So those are your little fine adjustments for the width of the plate. Down here is your chip out block. So basically, when you're doing your 1 3/8 jam, depending on how deep your back set's going to be, you got your pin here. This is 11/16 pin for doing 1 7/16 back set. So we brought the jam out, or the chip out block out to the pins here for that. Now when you go to do an 1 3/4 door, you're probably going to put most likely like a 1/2 inch pin to do whatever back set you want to do, a different back set. There's a pin chart for that. So you also got to come in, there's a thumb screw on the back side of this chip out. You loosen it up, and then you put your shorter pins in here for your 1 3/4 door ones, because you got to remember, because your 1 3/4 got to be the 3/16 back, so it makes room for your plunge and all that. So anyway, loosen it up, the thumb screw, then put your jam in here, let it sink back further, and then tighten up your jam nut or your wing nut, and you'll be ready to go again. Now I changed my bit and everything, so now I need to come back over here, lock out, tag out, make sure we do that, and then I'm ready to turn the power back on. Okay, once I've done the lockout, tag out, Try it out. We got the lockout tag out here too. Now we turn the air back on. And this is your foot pedal down here. Hit the foot pedal once and it automatically clamps up and turns your router on and start to route your pocket. For some reason, you need to stop the sequence, just hit the foot pedal on the left. All right, now I'm gonna run my Jamb. Okay, I gotta come off with my 6/8 stop over here. Go all the way in, put my hands where they're supposed to be. Start sequence. Then it's gonna route. Okay, there's your pocket.